Hello? Hello, hello? Is it working?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Bon. The other night you surprised me because you were talking and you said there was something about all marriages are terrible or whatever. And
All the, what is terrible?
the marriage. The marriage are all bad. Remember, not you, but
Oh, the person, right, the person was asking, yes, a few days
he was
ago,
asking.
that all marriage is miserable, yes.
And you said at one point you were talking and you mentioned a relationship and you said like men and women and same sex. And then the following day I was reading something which was talking about grace and it just hit me that I'm gay personally. And it hit me like, and you also before you had talked about all Westerners have something very dark inside of them. So, and it hit me that it's part of me that, especially being gay, although I've been a lot of work on myself, is still something very dark about that and something I cannot, as I was reading it I realized there was a link that's really painful inside of me. And I'm thinking, and I don't think I'm the only one too, stuck with that.
Yeah. So, he was sharing, for those of you in the back, he was sharing how we've been talking at different times about things inside of us that we feel are dark and wrong, and how he's gay, and that he's realized with great courage, I might add, that he feels like that is dark and wrong about him, and no matter what work he does, that there's still that sense that it's dark and it's wrong. First of all, you should know it is not. Yeah, so taking the message from the brain to the heart is so critical and difficult. One way you can think about it, do you believe in God? Okay. So, do you believe that God is perfect? Yes. He's answering yes to all of my questions. If he gives a no, I'll let you know. Yes, he believes in God. Yes, he believes God is perfect. Okay. Do you believe that God is omnipotent, that he's all-powerful? Do you believe that God is omniscient, all-knowing? Yes, yes, yes. Therefore, and by the way, I'm not even sure what religion you are, but this pertains to every religion that I know of. I don't know of a religion in which people believe that God is not perfect, not omnipotent, not omniscient. If we believe that there is something wrong about us, as fundamental to who we are, as our sexuality, then what that is saying is that God is either not perfect, not omnipotent, or not omniscient. Because if God is omniscient, means knows I'm gay, omnipotent, could have made me not gay, if he, she, it, they wanted, and perfect, well then God knows I'm gay, has very perfectly, with all power to make me otherwise, made me gay. Why should I then second guess God? I mean, do you really think that you are the sole exception to the rule, that God is perfect and omnipotent and omniscient? Because that's kind of an ego trip, right? Out of however many billions of beings have been created, I am the sole exception. I'm the one not perfect. Right? I mean, that's an ego trip. That's a game that says I. Yeah, you all were made by the same God, perfect and omniscient and omnipotent, but I. out of all of you, out of all of creation ever to have happened, I am the mistake. Now I tell you, I used to be on the same ego trip. Not because I'm gay, but for all sorts of other reasons that I thought that I was wrong and dark and bad. And you start to realize this particular thought doesn't work with everything I believe. And what that means is that you've got to anchor yourself in what you believe. Anchor in your faith. In your faith in God. And hold that faith in God deeply. Knowing. As you said, I didn't put those yeses in your mouth. That God is perfect. Omniscient, omnipotent, means I am a perfect creation of a perfect creator. Now, the dilemma and the reason that you feel like there's something wrong is because we've got a culture that is rooted in separation. We've got a culture that's rooted in othering. Polarization, us versus them. A culture that's rooted in creating lines between us, always looking for someone who is not right. And so whether it's on the basis of color, whether it's on the basis of religion, or race, or size, or shape, or sexual orientation, our culture is constantly saying, we are better than them. We, the ones of the right color, right race, right religion, right sexual orientation, right shape, right socioeconomic status. And that's violence. We call it hinsa. And as people dedicated to yoga, to spirituality, we take vows of yam and niyam, the do's and the don'ts. It begins with ahimsa, vows of nonviolence, which means that we need to create a new culture in which we stop creating these lines. We take down the borders, we take down the boundaries. That we stop needing to create a them in order to feel better about ourselves. That's hinsa and it's pathology. If I need to ostracize someone in order for me to feel okay, that's what we call the schoolyard bully. I mean, I remember growing up, and there are kids in every class, in every school, who are bullies. And my school was no exception. And I remember going home at night crying at the things that the schoolyard bully had said to me. Ways that that bully had made me feel badly about myself. You're stupid, you're this, you're the, whatever he had said. I don't even remember now, but whatever kids who are bullies say. And I remember my mom told me something very interesting. I went to a small school. Everybody knew everybody. And my mom said, sweetheart, his parents are in the middle of a divorce. He's very upset. He's confused, he's angry. Here's what's happening. She knew his parents. Here's what's happening with his mom. Here's what's happening with his father. Here's what his home situation is like right now. He's taking his personal misery out on you and on others. And that's why he's being so mean. And it was one of the most powerful lessons of my life. Because that's true not only on the schoolyard, that is true in life everywhere. Those who are pointing fingers, ostracizing, making others feel bad, are doing it because they themselves are miserable and need to somehow make others miserable in order to feel okay. It's like if you've got food poisoning, until and unless you throw it up, you're not going to feel better. Right? As anybody who's eaten something wrong knows. You feel awful. And then finally you throw up, and that's not so much fun, but afterwards you feel better. At least it's out. And this is what these people do. They've got the misery inside, and they metaphorically vomit it out onto the world so that temporarily they feel better. And this is why we've got all of these discrimination. It's why we've got all of the othering and the polarization and the hatred and the us versus them. But what you've got to realize if you're on the receiving end of that is I don't need to feel badly about myself. Just because others are pathological in their need to make me feel bad so they can feel better. I don't need to offer my peace, my joy, my knowing of the perfection of myself on the altar of someone else's pathology, an individual, a group, a society. And that's what you do when you take it on. And so you need to go back to your faith in God. Feel it in your heart. Would God create you wrong? Why? Why would God make you wrong?
I was gay bashing because I was younger. Now I realize that I have to put these people in light and understand that they were suffering.
Yeah. And that's what we do. We bring hurt to others. We project. God did not make you wrong. God made you perfect. You didn't know you were perfect in this way when you were young. Probably in some subconscious way you did, which is why you were discriminatory to others. But God does not make mistakes. And being gay is not bad karma for what you said to other people. Do not let yourself convince yourself that because you were mean to someone, therefore now you, that you got the gay bashing. No. Not bad karma. Not due to that. God's not there to punish us. Who you are is perfect. Whatever size or shape or color you may be, whatever race or religion you may be, whatever sexual orientation you may be, it doesn't matter. We're like flowers in a garden. Each perfect, each different. But we've got to just keep remembering the perfection of the gardener. And that's going to be your path. Is realizing and anchoring yourself in faith. And just keep reminding yourself, God didn't make a mistake. God didn't make a mistake. If I'm wrong, it means God made a mistake. And God doesn't make mistakes, which means, therefore, I am not wrong. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for the open and beautiful and courageous question. And what it means for the rest of us is if you find yourself ever discriminating against someone, against a group of people, based on any aspect of them, ask yourself, how am I suffering? And address your own suffering. Because I promise you, no one who is not suffering sees the world as anything other than equal, beautiful beings. So if you see others as anything other than equal, other than equally beautiful varieties of God's creation, ask yourself, how am I suffering? And how can I overcome my suffering? So I don't take it out on others. Why do I feel the need to hurt others? To make judgments about others, to push others away? Why do I feel so insecure in myself that I need to identify based on what I am not? And then do your work so that you don't take it out on others.